قالت يا ويلتى أألد وأنا عجوز وهذا بعلي شيخا إن هذا لشيء عجيب.
Ukraine and Eastern Europe and in Southern Europe to enslave them. That's how the Ottomans came to have janissaries, which were Christian, usually white boys, who were trained to be very, very proficient in warfare and very, committed to the Sultan. And they could never rebel against the Sultan because the other Muslims would never accept them because they were janissaries. You know what I mean? Or the Mamluks in Egypt, which eventually overtook their masters and became, like a knightly order in Egypt. They were slaves in the beginning. They were enslaved.
Again.
Or the Gulams, same thing.
Again, what's your name, sorry?
Pavlov,
yeah? The reason I was speaking to James, because James, he approached me. Because me and you can speak about this issue with respect and everything. I'm not going to tell you that there was no Muslim that did something wrong. I'm not going to say that.
Okay, that's good.
Without any doubt. The Ottoman Empire, I know the Ottoman Empire did something evil. Without any doubt. So even some Muslim scholars now still refute it. Because me, I defend Islam, not Muslims actually. You understand? But what I was referring to, that when he tried to accuse Prophet Muhammad sallallahu we're just saying slavery. What you have to understand, if we're just speaking about slavery here, without defining it and without explaining what we're talking about, everyone that is listening automatically will picture which slavery, the European slavery. That's how it is now. You with me?
It's quite unfortunate, honestly, that the media is showing it off that way.
I understand that. For example,
if you look at the kids, for example, they one day they will decide that they're a girl, and the next day they will decide that they're a boy. So don't really take the kids nowadays seriously. But listen.
So my point, the Muslims, they did something wrong. Yeah, I agree with you. So some Muslims did something wrong. However, in the Quran and the prophetic tradition, there is no verse or a hadith Prophet Muhammad said go enslave people. In Islam, there is something which is called servitude, or called raq. Raq means the war booty. When these people wage a war against you, then in Islam you have legislation in place for them. One of them, either you let them go free, okay, or you exchange them with the other prisoners, or you take them as a servant not to serve you.
Okay. That's the point. That's the small part where I disagree with James, because war captives, soldiers that are captured in war, are different from slaves. They were usually captured to have a ransom. That's what knights had in Europe, and that's what they had. For example, when Saladin fought against Richard the Lionhearted. There was one time that Richard had a bunch of captives, and Saladin was stalling for time because he wanted to achieve some kind of advantage, and Richard killed the captives. That's one of the examples. Or sometimes the Muslims had captives and they killed them or gave them back. It depends on the situation. But it's different from slaves. I do agree with you about that.
But even because I have to be just raw. Sometimes in a war, what used to happen when someone is coming to wage war against a Muslim, he's bringing his family with them. So the Muslim, they will, because those soldiers, some of them get killed, so the wife or the mothers or the children, they have no one there. So the Muslim, they take them, and they take them as a war booty. However, they take care of them, they treat them nice. Why is that? Why is one of the reasons? One of the reasons for anyone that is scared and threaten, scare people away, anyone that tries to wage and come with the army and his family against the Muslim. Because if you go a minute, if I take my family and I fight against the Muslim, that's what's going to happen to me. So I should not fight against them. So there is many wisdom behind it, and one of them is what? When you take them, you make sure you teach about Islam, you take care of them, and you look after them without any doubt. So he is trying to, I don't disagree with you about some Muslims that do something evil. But what I disagree with James, that he tried to mix and overflop a slavery European one with the Islamic one. Understand? It's not the same at all. It's not. In Islam, Prophet Muhammad said.
What's the big difference?
I'll tell you what's the difference. European slavery, they used to go enslave free people. They used to go enslave them.
And Arabs weren't.
No, I'm not talking about Islam now. I'm not about Arabs, bro.
Yeah, I'm talking about Arabs.
No.
I said
I'm
Arabs.
Not here different,
I didn't say Muslims.
I'm not here different Arabs. I agree with some Arabs did something evil. Now Arabs are doing it. Look.
So you're saying, wait. The colonial powers in Europe enslaved all those people because of Christianity. Is that what you're saying?
Because of Christianity?
Yeah, because you don't want to say Europeans or Arabs. You want to say Muslims. Because I said Arabs and you corrected me. You told me no, not the Arabs.
No, because I would say in Christianity, in the Bible, it encourages you to enslave people.
Indeed, there is a passage of the Catholic Bible, not the Orthodox one. The don't touch your neighbor's slave or whatever. It's part of the Ten Commandments.
No, I know. Jesus said in the New Testament that if you're a slave of someone, stay slave until I come back.
No, I mean the Ten Commandments of the Catholics.
I know.
There's one of the commandments that says don't touch your neighbor's slave or whatever. Something like that.
No,
I actually have the Ten Commandments.
No, my point
here.
is, I'm not talking about Christianity, to be honest.
What exactly are you talking about? The Europeans and the Arabs? Is that what
No.
about?
When I was talking to James,
Okay.
he tried to say Islamic servitude is the same as European slavery.
Okay.
So he tried to say Islam. If he says some Muslims, I'm not going to justify every Muslim's action. Of course, without any doubt, some Muslims out there, they are
There are
evil.
many similarities between the two. For example, Europeans could not enslave other Christians. And Muslims could not enslave other Muslims.
No,
that's why, listen, and that's the example I wanted
You're
to
wrong,
give
you're
you.
wrong, you're wrong.
Wait, let me finish the example.
Okay.
When the Portuguese, they started their colonial empire, they were actually the first colonial empire, in case somebody doesn't know. They enslaved some of the blacks in Africa, right?
You're right,
They
yeah.
started trading them.
Yeah,
Correct. When they came to Brazil, they wanted to enslave the natives.
yeah.
And the priests converted a large amount of those natives before they could be enslaved, so they would not be enslaved, because they knew what would happen to them. It would be the same thing as happened
So you
in
tell
Africa.
me when Europeans
So
came to Africa, whole Africa, there was no one Africa Christian.
there weren't too many Christians in
No,
Africa.
I didn't ask you if there are too many or not.
No,
Are you saying when
okay.
the Europeans came to Africa, there was not even one nation, it was Christian nation?
No, there were Christian nations in Africa, but
And
they
did
were not
Christians-
the main. Okay, there you go.
Did the Christian
They
enslave
were
them?
not. They were not the main.
Where did they come from?
You know, they were not from here. They were not the victims of slavery. I know the kingdom of Makurian, which is south of Egypt. It was it was a Christian kingdom, and they actually they beat back the initial Arabic invasion, and eventually they kept being Christians. They were Coptic Christians, if I'm not mistaken. But let's not talk about them.
So what are we
because
talking about?
We were talking about the comparison between the Arabic slave trade and the European slave trade.
No,
I don't want to tell you that it's not that different. The two are not
No,
that
no,
different.
no. Listen carefully. And now, when you say Arabic, as I've mentioned, I'm not here to defend what every Arab did or what every Muslim did.
Good.
I'm here to defend Islam.
Okay.
Because I said to him, Prophet Muhammad clearly said in the hadith, he said Allah will be an opponent of someone who goes and enslave free people. Meaning you go to Africa or you come to Europe, someone's walking, you kidnap him and they say my slave. Because you have to know that some people are doing it in Africa. And the scholars won't against that because there's a clear hadith. And what I was talking about, that the servitude in Islam, the reason, and Islam never started this anyway, it was there already.
Well,
but
of course, it was there long ago.
Yeah, long ago, yeah. And I think you said that the Egyptians started it last time.
I'm not sure if the Egyptians started it,
That's
but they
what you
were
said.
one of the main, one of the
I think
first
in a way I agree
civilization
with
with a
you.
big
think
amount of
in a way I
slaves
agree with
were
you.
the Egyptians. I would say that.
Yeah, I
yes.
think I agree with you in a way.
I
I'm
think,
not-
I think
yeah.
the Chinese or the the Mesopotamians had slavery. At least I don't think so. I think they had like servants or something
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
what I'm talking about. In Islam, there's something
It
called a
was
servant.
exactly slave.
Yeah, it called a servant. And Islam, those servants who we take them in a war booty, they have many ways for them, for us to enslave, to free them. One of the ways that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, in order for you to enter paradise, one of the path to enter paradise, to free a servant. Likewise, if imagine I say, Wallahi, I swear by Allah, tomorrow I'm going to fast, and I don't fast. So one of the options for me to expiate an oath, I have to free a servant. You understand? So there was many routes to free those servants who we took them because there was a war. Not because Prophet Muhammad said, Abu Bakr, Umar, let us go to Yemen, let us go to Europe and just kidnap people and enslave them. That's why I challenge anyone to bring me one hadith, authentic hadith, or one verse says go and take people as a servant or slaves. This is not that
that's not
Islam
what
didn't
I'm
come
saying.
for that.
That's not what I'm
No, that's
saying.
our argument.
That's not
But you
my
talk about
main
Arabs
point.
doing evil, I don't agree with you.
I'm talking about Arabic empires and Islamic empires enslaving other peoples. That's what wait,
I
Shamsi,
agree with you,
let me just
some
finish
do.
this one. Listen, even though it does state in the Bible about slavery, there are parts that speak about it. I'm not blaming Islam necessarily for saying, okay, you can go and enslave everyone. What I'm saying is, the Islamic countries did not have any opposition against the slavery that they were committing. In fact, it was well accepted inside their culture. I'm not talking about, I don't want to delve into what's written in the Bible, what's written in the Quran. That's not my
which
main
one are you
point.
talking about?
History is what I'm talking about.
I understand that, but
What actually happened was
You
that
and I
many
is not-
Islamic empires committed slavery, which was not better than the European slave
Ottoman
trade.
Empire, I believe they did something wrong as well, without any doubt. But you cannot compare the European one Anyway, forget.
Why not?
Bro,
Because the Europeans were more successful in their slave trade.
No, they were successful. They started it first. They initiated it.
No, they didn't.
Yeah,
start
they did it.
No,
They did it. That's why when I tell you, give me an example that where a nation focused on people's skin color and I think I have to study about European slavery more because I never studied about it. When I did study about it, it was, to be honest, it's very, very disgusting.
Bro,
very, very
many
disgusting.
Many
It
of
was
the
a law
slaves
of
the
the country.
Portuguese took were sold to them by Arab merchants.
Yeah, even like, forget about the Arabs one. I'm talking about the one you go into Africa, setting up fires in villages just for the people to run away and enslave them.
That's a very common way of taking slaves.
Bro, I think I have to send the article.
No,
Let me
listen,
send
the
this article and
Portuguese
study.
did not have a lot of
Relax.
manpower. The Portuguese,
It's not
look,
talk about Islam, it's just talk about Arabs. And
Yeah, I'm telling you, okay. If you talk about Arabs, then I believe
I am
the Arabs
talking
do-
about the Arabs, and the
I
Arab
agree with you then.
the Arabic culture is very much linked to Islam.
No, Arabic culture is
It
not.
doesn't matter what's
It's not,
written
it's
in the
not.
Bible or in
Arabic
the
culture is
Quran.
not.
What matters is what Muslims and Christians did throughout history.
Arabic culture
That's
is
what
not.
actually matters.
What is Arabic culture? Go on.
What is Arabic
Yeah, go
culture?
on.
It's the culture that started in Arabia, that was expanded with the Muslim invasions, with the Arabic expansions into the Middle East.
So before Islam came-
Islam and the Arabic culture are very much linked together, just like Europeans
Calm
are
down,
linked to
step by step,
Christianity.
step by step. Can you give me an example where the Arabs, before Islam came to them, they were going to Africa and enslave Africans?
Before Islam,
Yeah.
the Arabs did not have that power. They were very much fragmented
No.
between each other.
They did have servants in Mecca. Like Bilal was a servant.
Okay, but it's very hard.
But
to,
so
it's
what
very
I'm saying,
hard to talk
there was
about it
no
because
Arabic
of few reasons.
There was no Arabic culture anyway, because you say it is Arabic culture to enslave. There's no Arabic culture. to
No, I
begin with.
said that Arabic culture is very much linked to Islam because Arabic culture
understand.
didn't remain exactly the same as it was before Islam. Islam changed their culture, and their
You're
culture
right.
has been changing
Yeah, you're right.
throughout
You're right.
history.
Yeah, you're right.
And what I'm saying is that eventually those changes, plus the success that the Arabic expansions had, created the Arabic slave trade, which was also linked with Islam.
For
which
example,
was
give me
not
one example.
necessarily what example of Arabic slave trade?
Yeah.
I can give you many examples.
Just give me one. I said.
Okay, one example. Let's talk about the Somalians. The Somalians, fair enough, they actually have a good point. I thought that the Somalians didn't have a point, but they do have a point. That they have a very different genetic makeup than other Africans. It is true, they are quite different from other Africans. But the thing is, the Somalians did not suffer, at least greatly, from a slave trade. In fact, they were Muslims and they were selling other Africans into slavery to other Arabs.
Answer
and
the question.
eventually
Answer the
to-
question.
Ask him a
Answer the question.
You, one example. You wanted one example of
Yeah,
Arabic
you're
slave
talking
trade,
about
of Muslim slave
again. It's about individuals here. You're not talking about.
What's the example you want?
I'm
Okay.
talking about an Islamic
Reform the
empire
question.
that which Muslim look up to.
An Islamic empire
that
the
was their
Muslims
main
looked up
target
to.
is to enslave people. Give me an example of that.
Okay, the Egyptian Mamlukat,
The
the
Egyptian
Mamlukat of Egypt.
the Mamalik, their main target was to go around and enslave people.
No, that was not the main target. But listen,
He's
the
lost-
main target
he's
of
It's not
the
lost.
listening.
Europeans.
So what you mentioning then? You
Okay,
say.
wait. You mean that
that's what
the
I'm
main
saying.
target of the Europeans, the only target, was only to get slaves?
That was a business, a big. That was their main business to go to Africa and enslave them. It was a big business.
Yeah, it was a big business.
That's what
no
I'm saying.
question
So
about
there
that.
was no Islamic empire did that. That's my point.
Dude, most of
You
the,
have to go,
dude,
seriously.
a lot of
Just
troops in
ourselves.
the Ottoman Empire and in the Mamlukat
Okay,
of
I
Egypt
agree.
were composed by slaves. They could not have their army without their
They
slaves.
were
Do you
composed
know
by
what I
slaves
mean?
because the Ottomans took the people that when they took over a country, they took those kids and those people that were left over from their fathers died from war, took them to Istanbul,
what is-
enrolled them into the universities, and they became the future governors of the countries around the empire.
See, who can
That
teach
never
something like
happened
that?
in Europe.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
never happened in Europe.
Yeah, but it didn't
Even
always
now,
happen
the
like
black
that.
people.
Anyway, let me just
Many of the
clarify
slaves-
something.
listen,
That's
many of
what-
the slaves
one
taken
thing I
by
want to
the-
clarify
taken
something.
by the
I'm not
Ottomans
blaming
were
in-
rowers
Let
in
me-
their
let me-
galleons.
No, hear me out.
They were rowers
I want
there.
to clarify.
Many of
I want to
Ukrainians
conclude
ended
this.
up
Yeah,
their lives
I want to clarify because many cameras. When I was speaking to James or we're speaking about slavery, we're not blaming no one here now. I don't blame no British man or an English man or an Irish man or a French man because of something happened in the past. Because Allah told us in the Quran clearly, لا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى. A person should not be responsible for a sin that was committed by someone else. But the reason I was talking to James, because James, one of his main targets to come to speak his corner, to give bad image about Islam, about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why I was showing him that don't you ever dare you to try to compare what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions did to European slavery. That was my main point. Okay. So I agree with you without any doubt. There were some people, Muslims and Arabs, did something evil and did enslave people wrongly without any doubt, and it's vice versa for the other nations. So I will agree. Me and you will agree, except that what we're talking about, there was no Islamic empire. Their main target and business to go and enslave Africans. None of them did that.
Oh, Africans and Europeans.
None of that.
They did not just enslave
Khalas.
Africans.
All right, take it, man. What's your name again?
Okay, Pavlov.
Pavlov. What do you think now about me?
Huh? I still don't agree with you about saying that it was, way, completely different
Listen,
how the Europeans enslaved.
You know Gaddafi what he said? He said we have to agree to disagree. That's it. Take care, man.